Good morning, everyone. It is March 3rd, 2020. We will call the Wright County Board of Commissioners to order. We'll stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Nice to see so many people here for civic engagement. And
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let the record reflect nobody kneeled for this.
yes, thank you. All right. The minutes from 2/25. Does anyone have any corrections to the minutes?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve all 11 pages of minutes from February 25th.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Delyden. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, the agenda for today, is there any additions or deletions?
I have none.
Administrator Kelly? All
Madam
right.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Potter, seconded by Commissioner Burrell. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda. Would any of the commissioners like to remove an item for further discussion?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve today's consent agenda as presented.
Motion made by Commissioner
Second.
Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Delyden. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, our first timed item, and we have Bob Pebola, Auditor Treasurer. Welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Greg's going to field these two ditch questions for us, so here's Greg Kreiser.
All right,
Madam Chair, members of the board, we have two resolutions before the board today, two different county ditches. The first ditch is on County Ditch 31, so you'll be acting in your capacity as the Drainage Authority for Wright County Ditch 31. This is a resolution directing a repair and also initiating the process as articulated under Minnesota Statute 103E.701.
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion to approve that order. The findings. Second.
motion made by Commissioner Burrell, seconded by Commissioner Delyden. Is there any questions or
Ma-
discussion on 31?
Madam Chair, I just would like to make a comment that this is a drainage ditch that does have some issues and concerns with the DNR, but we have met with them a couple of different times in preparation for some areas that we may have conflict, and they've actually started a new kind of appeals group at a high level. So we're really looking forward to working with the DNR on this, and you don't hear me say that too often, but I'm hoping that that with this, what we've worked out in kind of concept does pan out into reality. So we're looking forward to this going ahead and getting some relief to the farmers that are in that area where their field tunnels are just plain not working. It's backing water up onto their fields, and we do need to lower the level in a particular wetland public waters area, and we're hoping that we can work with the DNR on that and get some resolution for our farmers. So.
Yeah, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Thank you,
Commissioner
Madam
Potter.
Chair. And for the public, DNR does not mean do not resuscitate, although some people think it does. It's been a hard road to get the DNR on board. County ditches are only county in name. They're rural stormwater. They belong to the people that are on that watershed system. And it's been nothing but a dogfight with them just to try to get something repaired. So the idea of what we're doing with redeterminations here, we're getting it so it becomes a local control. And the DNR, after a lot of us on the board have gone after them to task, they have decided to turn over a different leaf. And thank you, Mr. Kreiser, for at the conference with that, to put them in their place basically. Hey, you work for us. These are things have to be done. And I'm glad that they're actually taking a different attitude towards trying to get some of these ditches resolved, because a lot of these have been here 100 years and haven't been dealt with. They need to be dealt with, and this board, I'm real happy to say, has been taking these head on and dealing with them. And this is just one of many ditches. Going to go through, going to get them all redetermined, get them all dealt with, and that's our duty and obligation according to state statute.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Potter. Any more discussion? Hearing none, the resolution is the findings and order directing repair to Wright County Ditch 31 pursuant to Minnesota Statute 103E-701, subdivision 2. With that, roll call vote, Commissioner Burrell.
Aye.
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 Resolution passes 4-0. Thank you.
Madam Chair, then the second ditch item on the agenda today is on Wright County Ditch 10. You'll be acting in your capacity as a drainage authority for Wright County Ditch 10. This resolution is again presented to the board pursuant to Minnesota Statute 103E.701 Subdivision 2, and we're specifically dealing with a repair in the East Grass Lake Wildlife Management Area. The engineer's report is attached. There's no improvement being proposed here, simply just a repair for just a part of that public water basin.
And, Madam Chair, I will make the motion to approve those findings in order directing the repair on ditch 10 as well.
All right, motion made by Commissioner
Second.
Burrell, seconded by Commissioner Delight. And any discussion?
Just, Madam Chair, that we do have similar issues. It's different, but similar issues, so there are some concerns there as well. So, like I said, we look forward to getting some relief, and this work that we'd be doing here would directly affect a lot of landowners on Lake Ann that have been subject to
Yes.
periodic flooding every time we get a large rainfall. So we're hoping that, again, that we can work with the DNR and come up with some things on that issue. So, a little different, but we have similar things.
And I believe this is by far our largest ditch system, isn't it, in the drainage system in our county?
Ditch 10 is a very large, I'm not sure it's the largest, but it's very large system. I think it includes somewhere over 20,000 acres, something like that.
Yeah, I believe
Commissioner
it's
Houston, Commissioner Burrell.
24,000 acres.
It may be our longest ditch system, but I'm not sure watershed area if it's our largest watershed. But I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it's our longest.
Longest
We
system.
may have a larger one,
Yeah,
I think in Clearwater
Okay.
Township, that may have a bigger watershed. There's one up there that, it's a short system, but it's got a big watershed.
yeah. Thank you. All right, any more discussion? Resolution, Commissioner Vetch?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Resolution passes 4-0. All right. We have a couple of minutes before Aaron is scheduled to speak, and I don't, Aaron, are you in the room? Oh, you are, okay.
Yeah, she's here.
Okay,
Just let her go.
Yeah.
Let her go so she can hear time is valuable.
All right. Welcome to the podium, Karen. Karen Punsack, our Executive Director from Great River Regional Library. There's so many people, I couldn't find
Right,
you.
usually it's not quite this full when we come, so I'm excited that so many people are interested in the library today.
Yes.
Madam
Me
Chair?
too.
I have
Commissioner
with me Marlo Scherber, who is our Library Services Coordinator in Monticello, and Nancy Bunting, who is our Library Services Coordinator in St. Michael. We're excited to tell you about the activities at the library in the past year and give you some highlights. If you have questions, we're happy to answer those along the way. So last year was our 50th anniversary at Great River. We've been founded back in 1969 with 14 libraries, and 3 of our original libraries were here in Wright County, Buffalo, Delano, and Howard Lake. So notable that Buffalo, Delano, and Howard Lake were part of those communities that decided to come together and say it's going to be more efficient if we all do library services together 50 years ago. Here in Wright County, we have over 30,000 people who have an active library card. That means they've used the card at least once in the last 3 years to either check out books or use a computer. We have lots of other services that you can use at the library that don't need a library card. So this is just one measure of activity. About 28% of our borrowers are here in Wright County. There's 9 libraries here, which is also 28% of the libraries. So it makes sense that we have about that level here in Wright County. It's one of the largest areas of activity in Great River. We see about as much happening in Wright County as we do in Stearns County, and Stearns County has our largest library, which is in St. Cloud. So it's people in Wright County love their libraries, and it shows. Last year was the first year we saw a little uptick is a percentage of our digital activity. So our physical activity dropped a little bit last year. First quarter was really tough for us. That snow and cold meant people could not come to the library and check out books or go to programs. But what we did see is an uptick in the digital activity. So now 7% of our total checkouts is actually coming from our digital library. We expect that to continue to grow over time. In your packet, too, we had the 2018 library statistics for the state and a summary of our activity across the region. One of the things to note on the state stats last year was the first year that they started tracking online visits to websites as a measure of library activity. Since it was the first year, only a third of the libraries in the state were able to report it, and it already exceeded the measure of people actually walking through the door at the library. So we know that website digital access is going to be an area of growth for us over the next 5 to 10 years. You guys want to maybe talk about some of the programs that we were doing? We did so many things last year.
You can step up to the podium, please.
Sure. My name's Nancy Bunting. I'm at the St. Michael Library, and I'm particular this year. What we've been working on a program with one of the local schools, the second grade. So there's 6 second grade classes, and so we partnered with them. We started off the year with having them come into the library, make sure they all had library cards. Then we continued with them having them do a program where they earned a book by doing a bingo, and then now we have them also currently racing to the library. So the whole idea behind this is to keep the second graders and the schools engaged with the library so that we have future readers. So now the next part of this step is to reintroduce to them the summer reading program that's coming up.
And similarly to today, actually, and next Tuesday, all the kindergartners from Eastview Education Center will be coming over to the library, and they get a tour. We do a little story time, and so all the kindergartners from Monticello Public Schools will be coming over, and so that's a really great program. One of the things we offer is conversation circles. So for those people who are living in our community that have English as a second language, they can come to the library as a safe space to practice their English skills. And they can be set in situations like pretend we're going to go to the grocery store, and what kind of language are you going to be using at that time. So it's a great opportunity. We just started that in January, and we offer it twice a month, so it's a great place for that. A couple programs that we're really successful with are any kind of craft or handicrafts programs. We did something in early February called For the Love of Pets. People came in, made a craft, decorated a dog bowl or a cat dish, and they made like pull toys for dogs, and then we donated those to the Homeward Bound Animal Shelter, which is a shelter, no-kill shelter. I think it's in Albertville. I can't remember, but it's a Wright County no-kill animal shelter. So it's those kind of programs that we offer to the community, and again, people are just amazed that these programs are free. So we don't charge a dime. We can't charge a dime to anybody who wants to use our facilities for these kind of programs. So it's a great success story.
Madam Chair?
Thank you, Commissioner Potter.
Before you switch that slide, Karen, everybody in the crowd, look at that. You see in the summer reading program, Wright County, 5,100 participants out of 12,000 region-wide. I want to thank the lead service technicians, coordinators for getting people there to read. Our kids are visiting the library and actually are reading, because we are about 25% of the system, but we're about 50% of those participating. That bodes well for us for the future of people in Wright County, and thank you, Nancy and Marla, for being part of making that successful. Shameless self-promotion, I'm on the library board.
We're getting to that part. So yes, summer reading program is one of our main core activities. Marla and Nancy talked about some of our other programs. We had over 102,000 people come to our programs, and that's a separate benchmark completely. A lot of those programs are available through the Arts and Cultural Heritage Legacy Amendment Grant funds that we receive from the state. So we're really fortunate to be able to receive those funds and be able to bring those to all of the communities in Great River. And some of those are smaller communities that would not have access to those funds otherwise. So the other thing we wanted to highlight, and I think this was part of the success in our summer reading program last year, is the Great River Board decided to take action and remove fines in all children's materials. So DVDs and books were no longer fined if people brought them back late. And this really helped get books in the hands of kids last year. I don't know, you've got a couple of stories or?
Just yesterday, we have something also called Read Down Your Fines. So for those adults who, I don't know if any of you are perfect, but I tend to forget my library books even, and I work there. So you can get a fine. But if your fines get up to be, $10, $12, that can be prohibitive for some families to come into the library, and they're afraid of the fees. But they can come in, and if they have a $12 fine, if they read down their fine, you spend 15 minutes at the library, and then $1 of your fines are waived. So pretty soon, not that much time spent in the library reading, and your fines can be waived, and then you're back to using the library again. So it's a great program for adults too, but the kids, it's amazing. They're just amazed. They come in and say, "Really? There's no fine on that?" And they feel bad. They turned in a video, and they said, "Nope, it's good." So it's a great program. So.
It's really increased access for our kids in a way that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And the Read Down Your Fines program is actually completely supported through fundraising. So we're able to balance lots of different needs within that program, both institutionally and for the public. It's been really fabulous. In the next year, we're going to be developing our new strategic plan at Great River. And some of the themes that we're starting to see is we're struggling to get people to come back to the library. So they'll get a library card, but they'll just do that one visit and not come back. So that first-time user experience, we expect that to be a greater emphasis in our next 5-year plan. And we're also going to be focusing on reaching out to new community members. There's a lot of new people in all of our communities across the region, and it's harder and harder for people to connect. So connecting the community with new members and new members with their community will be a role that the library will be playing. And I just want to give a shout out. Great River could not do what we're doing without the support of Wright County and the members that you send to our board. Thanks to Commissioner Potter, who's been on our board for quite a long time. He's the secretary this year. And Melissa Fee, who's a representative from the Monticello area, Wayne Bauernschmidt, and J.C. Wallace just joined us, and I believe Dan Ravender is in the audience. He served for the last several years on the board. So we're very fortunate to have good community representation on that board. It helps us make great decisions about what the public needs from their libraries. One last thing I forgot to mention. We are going to be participating in helping people access the census and register to vote this year. So all of our libraries will have participation stations. So if they don't have computer access or aren't sure how to do things, they can come into the library and we'll be helping them. So we want to continue to be supportive of the needs of our communities, and we're happy to do what we can to make that difference.
Thank you, Karen.
Questions?
Hey, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Potter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Karen, I just want the people out here to know that we are delivering this service for about 20-some% less than all their other library systems out there. So we are running a very lean machine, getting the books in the hands of people as best we can for the least amount of cost. So we're doing a good job and just want to keep it that way. And it's because the members that we have on here that are engaged and actually read their packets, and thank you, Dan, for your time on there. As I like guys like that they read their packet before they get there, so you don't have to sit there, oh my God, did they read it? Which is good. The other thing with the library, there's no cost to have one, so I imagine that everybody in the crowd here has a library card?
Thank you.
Okay. I didn't see you raise your hand, Sheriff Derringer.
Well, we've got one right down the street, so stop on by.
That'll cost me later, I'm sure. No, but Karen, and behalf of sitting on the board, it's an exciting board to be on because it's, this is the future of America. And I tell people, if you can learn, you got the world by the tail. If you can read, and get in there, read, get your kids in there, get them reading. Because that's the key. If we're going to have a successful future in this country, we need people that are literate and can actually, think things out.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Dryden.
Karen, you want to explain a little bit more about the Sartell locker system? We got some time here yet.
Oh, sure.
I just think it's kind of a unique system that you guys, I believe, will be looking at expanding in other locations.
We're just starting negotiations on the next contract with Sartell, so your timing is good. Unfortunately, today it's down because of a computer issue, but that's a separate thing. If you're listening out there, don't go to the Sartell locker today. But the Sartell locker started as a 3-year pilot with the city of Sartell. They wanted a library Great River just didn't have it within our operational capacity to do what they were asking at the time and in the location they were looking at. So we came up with a system that is used in some other library systems called Biblioteca to Go. We've branded it as GRL to Go. And that system actually allows people to access their materials outside of library open hours. So it's a locker with a self-checkout machine. You can request an item to be delivered to Sartell. It gets placed in the locker. And then when you go up to the system and scan your library card, it pops the locker open and actually checks the book out to you. So it works really great for physical access because in the Sartell Community Center, they're open a lot more than any of the libraries that we have. Early hours, late hours, it's a wellness facility, so they've got a walking track and all types of things like that. So that's been very well received. So well received, we actually have a hard time keeping up with the demand. We often have a backlog of materials because so many people are checking out from that locker system right now. It's been a great success, and we're going to be talking about how we're going to form that relationship in the next 3 years. It was done as a 3-year pilot, and it's scheduled to be done at the end of October. So we're just talking about what that looks like in the next 3 to 5 years.
Commissioner
Madam
Brown?
Chair, thank you. How many lockers are available? And then is it just one book per locker? Or if somebody called in and requested 3 books, how big are the lockers? How much will fit in?
Oh, sure. So the system can be configured however you'd like it. We bought lockers that fit, I think, 5 to 10 items. So we deliver there twice a week. The items come into the headquarters in St. Cloud, they get sorted, and then they're bundled by patron. So when the delivery driver goes out, he assigns the locker by patron. So if a patron has more than what fits in one locker, they might end up with 2. Right now we have a 44 locker system. We could add a couple more towers onto the system, but what we found is we started out with a 1-day-a-week delivery, quickly found that that wasn't enough, so now we're doing 2-day-a-week delivery. The struggle with the capacity there is you need people to pick things up in order to add another patron into the system. So we have to have some churn in order for that to happen. But what we're also finding is that, we can place books on hold at any of our libraries, and the pickup rate at Sartell is actually higher than most of our locations. People don't just forget that their stuff is there. They go and get it as soon as they can.
And then what about returning them? Is there a separate box for that, so you're not tying up the locker?
Yeah, we have a book drop there, and that one gets picked up, I think we have it on a 3 or 4 day a week pickup. But again, we can't deliver more than 2-ish days a week because we're closed on Sunday, so you can't process that day. So we're kind of at capacity with the delivery, but people can return not just the books that they checked out there, books that they picked up in Waite Park or St. Cloud or any of the other locations as well. It's really interesting location too because they built the Sartell Community Center with this system in mind, and so they actually have what's called a volunteer library around it, and there's a lot of donated books and spaces to sit within that community center, and then this is an option for them to access Great River services independent of what's already in the space.
One more, Madam Chair. And then, so what you mentioned Commissioner Leiden did, that they're looking to expand this. What areas are you looking at anywhere in particular, I guess?
I think we'll first have to figure out who's going to pay for what. But some of the options that have come up are like Zimmerman is a logical gap in our service area when you look at 15-minute drive time. We've had communities down here like Maple Lake and Montrose that have kind of expressed interest, but we don't know if they would be a good fit. And again, if there's local funding required, the startup costs for the system are pretty expensive. I want to say it was close to $90,000 as an initial capital investment for the system. So that's kind of a barrier to get started. The other option we're looking at, and we actually have dollars approved from last year's budget to do this, is experimenting with a local book return in a community without a library. We hope to put this experiment on an existing delivery route somewhere, but we haven't figured out exactly where that's going to go yet, because we have drivers going 5 days a week, 3 different routes all over the Great River region.
Maple Lake might like that.
It would be that hard to say, let's put a book drop there and then just pick up stuff there so that people don't have to go back to whatever library they picked it up at.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Madam Chair, just
Yes,
real
Commissioner
quick.
Vetch.
So does Great River Regional Library have any partnerships with online technology training videos that you would get access through by by holding a library card? So you do have a variety of those, and we do market those out there to let people know, since online training and online certificates for technology-based is a wave of the future, since a degree in YouTube.
Well, you can make money on YouTube, my son's told me, but I'm trying to talk him out of that as a career choice. We do have a databases page on our website. There's a lot of things available there with your library card. Anything from learning a language, like Pronunciator, where you can actually do online chat with somebody if you're trying to learn Spanish because you're traveling. We also have North Star Digital Literacy Curriculum, so you can go through the curriculum and actually get a certification that you know how to use Microsoft Word. We also have available what's called lynda.com right now. That has a number of different trainings available. A lot of employers will actually pay for this for their own staff training, and you can learn anything from how to sing to how to use CAD to how to do a public presentation. It's quite a wide range of things. So,
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Leyden.
Charlie, do you have a library card? Because I was thinking that how to sing one might be good.
I do have a library card, but I quit checking out books because I got nailed with one of those big fines.
Oh, did you?
you can come read them down.
Well, do the online thing with the Lydia and the
Nope.
singing, that you won't get fined for that one.
Now that you sufficiently embarrassed me, but I was going to ask how young they would go, like, would I qualify for that?
Oh, read down your fines, anyone, all the time.
That's what went through my head once.
Well, maybe what you need to do is go for the senior ones, the seniors, so that
Would
forget
you have a
their.
senior waiver too, maybe? Yeah.
I bet you could talk one of these guys.
Oh, okay, Madam Chair,
All
before we
right,
go.
yes, Commissioner Potter.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Karen, I'd just like to say for Commissioner Delight and the rest of them, the Sartell locker system was actually thought of with Commissioner Swatsky was there at the beginning of it. It just didn't take fruition. And as this board knows, I'm a big fan of pilot projects because you have a definite start and definite end date. Instead of committing long-term finance, you can see if it makes sense or not. And at the end of it, you say, okay, does this make sense or not? Because if it doesn't make sense, off it goes. It's not on the books. Too many times, people start programs and it gets lost in what the purpose was, and it gets funded year after year, wasting our money. And these things I like doing pilot projects. This one has been successful. Now it's a matter of how we go forward from here to make it so it's more accessible to people, like the hours in different towns that maybe don't have libraries or whatever. But more to come in the future. This is a negotiation thing. It'll take a while to get this done. But that is the future of libraries. 'Cause some people are just too busy to sit down in there, but they still need access to the books.
Thank you.
Sean, just so you know.
Thank you.
Hey, that's mine.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much and for everything that you're doing. This is a large system, and to keep on top of everything, doing a great job. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll see you next year or before.
Yeah, we'll be back.
All right. Our next agenda item, a second amendment dedicated county resolution. And just to remind everyone, this is a meeting of record and it's being live streamed. As such, discussions are not permitted in the gallery. Proper decorum is expected for all persons in attendance. We must all follow a few simple rules to get a complete and accurate record of the meeting. When I acknowledge you, please come up to the podium and speak into the microphone. State your name for the record. Only one person may speak at a time. Comments must be addressed to the board. You're not allowed to dialogue with other members of the public. And in order to give everyone an opportunity to address the board, comments will be limited to a minute or two unless one person is going to speak for your side, and then it would be up for up to 5 minutes. And we'd be recognizing people that are in favor of this and people that are opposed to this. So, with that, Commissioner Hatch?
Yeah, Madam Chair, just before we get this kicked off here, I wanted to make some changes. I know we had the resolution that was put inside the packet that people maybe found online. Some conversation has taken place that I've had with some members of a group out here, and I've worked with staff, and I would like to make some amendments to it right off the bat, just because it may change the conversation from those that come forward here. So I want to get that introduced. So to do that, I'm going to pass this out to these members along here. They're out there for the public to see as well, this amended version. So anyone that may have seen it, you want to pass these down?
Yep.
What I'm,
Would we be able to put it on the overhead at all?
yep, and they have tons of copies that were out there
Oh,
for the
okay,
pickup. So, the changes that were made here were a modification, shifting down, on the original one, the therefore, and are removing the word whereas and changing it with therefore.
On the
And
last-
then,
on the last one,
yep.
first page.
The last one on the first page, yep. And then, the words would be the same, and then we would be adding a additional page, sorry. Find my copy here. Adding the paragraph of that the Wright County Board of Commissioners will refuse to directly appropriate any Wright County resources to enforce any mandate, law, or policy, or any directive which unconstitutionally infringes on the rights of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms. And then also adding in the very last paragraph, right at the word unconstitutional, so that it'll read, the last sentence would be that the Wright County Board of Commissioners hereby declares its intent to oppose any unconstitutional infringement on the right of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms. So,
All right.
adding those.
Madam
And
Chair,
with that,
should we introduce that as an amendment right off the bat?
This is what I would do. My intent is to make a motion to adopt this amended resolution.
I'll second that.
All right.
Madam
So,
Chair, I would like to
motion made.
ask that before we go to the public, that we would at least vote on this amendment.
We would only be voting on the amendment. We would not be voting at this time on the resolution, because this is what we would be discussing going forward, so.
But I just
And,
like-
and thank you for working with our attorney on this, because I know that there were some concerns, so. All right. I guess my question is, shall we read the whole?
Well, Madam Chair,
Amendment.
instead of reading it, why don't we
We
just
put it
put
on
it
the-
up on the,
You have,
on the
you have a
Elmo?
copy to put?
Yeah, I have a copy up there.
Since everybody does have copies out there, I just think put it up there for the public.
I'm happy to read it otherwise. You want to turn the lights up there for me? All right.
If it's difficult to see, then I suppose we could put it on the screen, but perhaps you can go ahead and read it, Commissioner Vetch.
All right.
It's,
Second Amendment dedicated county resolution as amended. Whereas, the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution reads, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." And whereas, the United States Supreme Court in District of Columbia versus Heller, 554 U.S. 570, 2008, affirmed an individual's right to possess firearms unconnected with service in militia for traditionally lawful purpose, such as self-defense within the home. And whereas, the United States Supreme Court in McDonald versus Chicago, 561 U.S. 742, affirmed that the right of an individual to keep and bear arms as protected under the Second Amendment is incorporated by the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment against the states. And whereas the people of Wright County, Minnesota derive economic benefit from all safe forms of firearm recreation, hunting, shooting conducted within Wright County using all types of firearms allowable under the United States Constitution. And whereas certain legislation beyond existing laws to date that has or may be introduced in the Minnesota legislature in the future, and certain legislation which has or may be introduced in the United States Congress in the future could have the effect of infringing on the rights of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms as guaranteed by the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. And whereas the Wright County Board of Commissioners is concerned about the passage of any new legislation containing language which could be interpreted as infringing on the rights of the citizens of Wright County to keep and bear arms. Whereas the Wright County Board of Commissioners wish to express its deepest commitment to the rights of all citizens of Wright County to keep and bear arms except for those prohibited by current law. And whereas the Wright County Board of Commissioners wish to express opposition to any law in the future beyond existing laws to date that would unconstitutionally restrict the rights of citizens of Wright County to keep and bear arms. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Wright County, Minnesota, that the Wright County Board of Commissioners hereby declare Wright County, Minnesota as a Second Amendment dedicated county, and that the Wright County Board of Commissioners wishes to express its intent to stand as a county dedicated to the Second Amendment rights and to oppose within the limits of the Constitution of the United States and the state of Minnesota any efforts in the future to unconstitutionally restrict such rights, and to use such legal means at its disposal to protect the rights of the citizens of Wright County to keep and bear arms. The Wright County Board of Commissioners will refuse to directly appropriate any Wright County resources to enforce any mandate, law, policy, and/or any directive which unconstitutionally infringes on the right of law-abiding citizens to keep Wright County to keep and bear arms, and that Wright County Board of Commissioners hereby expresses its intent to uphold the Second Amendment rights of the citizens of Wright County, Minnesota, and that the Wright County Board of Commissioners hereby declares its intent to oppose any unconstitutional infringement on the rights of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms.
All right, thank you. So that is the resolution as amended. And is there any more discussion? No? All right. This does not require a roll call vote. This is just a simple majority. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Madam Chair, so at this time, I just wanted to make sure we direct the public that we would be going forward at adopting this amended resolution after the public comment. The old version is no longer in play.
Correct. So everyone's had a chance to hear it and to see it on the screen. So now I would invite if someone would like to come up to the podium and speak. All right. And just a reminder to state your name and.
Good morning, committee.
Morning.
My name is Gloria Caballero, and I live in District 1. I am a retired Deputy United States Marshal. We see two great things in this resolution. As elected officials, you have the opportunity to do what the citizens elected you to do. After weeks of speaking with Wright County residents, it is clear that we, the people of Wright County, want the resolution passed. We also have the opportunity to be a leader. Other counties are watching this vote today. Let us use this opportunity to grow and to send a strong message to our lawmakers in St. Paul that senseless gun control laws that ultimately infringe on the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens will not be tolerated. Let me leave you with this one last thought. The American Revolution was not started because of taxes. It was started because they wanted to take our guns. Thank you for your time, and we urge you to pass this resolution. We would like to have Mr. Rob Dorr speak on our behalf. He can more expediently address the reasoning for the resolution.
Madam Chair, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I've been welcomed many times to what's been called God's country, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. These resolutions that are starting to be passed throughout the state, they send a strong message. They send a strong message to the state government. They send a strong message to your residents of your county that you guys are willing to defend their Second Amendment rights. There's been a lot of hyperbole and a lot of misunderstanding about what what these resolutions do. Some people say you can't nullify state law. As you guys just read through the resolution, there's nothing in there that nullifies state law. You guys, as the county board, are delegated with the responsibility of allocating your county's resources and protecting the rights of your citizens. And that's what this resolution does. That's what it affirms. You guys maintain the purse strings of the county. This says that you will not allocate those resources to unconstitutional means. You guys maintain the ability every step of the way. You'll continue to vote on every budget that you do. That'll all be part of the discussion, but this resolution sends a message to your residents that you will be mindful of their Second Amendment rights as your future deliberations of your budgets take place. Also says that you're willing to use any legal means to defend their rights, and that's very powerful. As you guys are, should you vote in favor of this, you'll be the 6th county in Minnesota to recognize that you will use any legal means to protect your citizens. That's going to be sending a very powerful message to the state legislature and to the governor that all of these counties will be advocating for the rights of their citizens. So I thank you very much for taking this measure up. I thank you all for being invited out here to speak, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have along these lines.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Morning, Madam Chair,
Alan?
Commissioners. My name is Alan Terrace. I'm in District 1. What you all just heard, there's one person that is responsible for enforcing this. I'd like to ask our Sheriff Sean Derringer to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Here.
Madam Chair, members of the board, long couple of weeks coming. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate God, family, country, faith, and the Second Amendment. I believe that it is the Second Amendment that allows us to enjoy the other God-given freedoms in this great country. And I will stand with you today, and as long as the good people of Wright County continue to elect me in, I will stand with you. I have wonderful relationships with our esteemed county attorney, Tom Kelly. In fact, I met with him just this morning. I met with some of his staff yesterday. I was on the phone last night with 2 of our state representatives. I have wonderful relationships with the senators and the state representatives that represent us at the Capitol. Believe me, I will continue to watch this closely. I stand before you committed to the Second Amendment. I would just like to offer one word of caution, maybe. And that is, I understand, I don't live in a vacuum. I understand that there's a Facebook group out there, and there's been at least a few people that have taken the opportunity to speak for me. I ask any of you that have questions about how I feel, how I stand, to reach out, give me a call, send me an email, call me. I will tell you, I'll take you out for a cup of coffee, and we can talk about how it is that I feel and how it is that I'm going to continue to work with the great folks of Wright County, the Board of Commissioners, our own county attorney, our state legislature, in defense of your Second Amendment, my Second Amendment rights. Like I said at the start of this, I believe that it's the Second Amendment that guarantees the rest of the rights, God-given rights that we have in this county. So please be very careful. If somebody is speaking on behalf of another, a couple of the comments, I don't know these people from the Man in the Moon, so I don't know what liberties they're taking speaking on my behalf. But please, if you're interested in how I feel and want to truly know how I feel, granted, Facebook allows a great deal of anonymity and protection that way, but it just starts a broader conversation and a larger conversation. So as your elected official, please get the word from me. I open my office to you. I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say this is by far the safest room in Wright County. I stand before you. I am not nervous about a threat of violence. It is not our law-abiding citizens that we worry about. I am proud to say that Wright County has a over 13,000 permit to carry holders. I am proud to sign each and every one of them, and I enjoy several of the conversations as people come up to the front counter and the window to get those. In fact, it's been, this is the 4th year now that I've actually helped teach a concealed carry class over in Annandale. They just came and met with me one day at the office, said, hey, would you be willing to do this? And it's been monthly now for about 3 years. I absolutely love doing it. Sunday morning, right before or after I go to church, and I go over there, and it usually turns into a great spirited conversation, and I love the interaction. So I stand with you, citizens of Wright County. I am honored to stand in front of you as your sheriff, and I will continue to do everything in my God-given power and the power invested in me to protect all of your rights, not just the Second Amendment, but we have lots of constitutional rights afforded to us, both through the state and the nation or the federal government, and I will stand with you to protect all of those rights. So,
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the public that would like to speak?
Public time.
Commissioner Brown?
I just wanted to say, I'll take you up on the cup of coffee, but I think you made it pretty clear how you stand.
Anyone else from the public that would like to speak on either side of this issue? Yes, sir. Please come up to the podium and...
Good morning to the board.
Morning.
Morning.
My name is John Dietering, Rockford Township. The Constitution does give rights to gun owners. However, they are not unlimited rights. I think this is an effort by the NRA and groups that agree with the NRA to frighten gun owners that somebody, and they never say who, somebody is coming to grab their guns. There is no useful purpose served by this resolution other than to insist somehow that gun owners are under siege. And it's just not true. For 30 years, the NRA has said, oh my God, they're coming, here they are, they're just in the parking lot, they're knocking on your front door, they're coming to take your guns. I am 75 years old. When I was 10 years old, in 1955, my father took my gun away for 2 weeks because I shot one of our chickens. Other than me and convicted felons, I've never heard of anybody having a gun taken away in the last 50 years. What this is an effort to do is head off the fact that this nation has decided that universal gun background checks is a reasonable thing. And Fox News poll, which is no friend of gun grabbers, did a poll just 4.5 months ago. The poll says 90% of the population favors universal background checks, 81% favor red flag laws, and 67% favor a ban on assault weapons. So either the NRA is not telling us the truth about them coming for their guns, or there is someone coming for our guns, but they're so damn incompetent that they just can't get the job done. I think we've got plenty of guns. The gun owners have plenty of rights. What we're in short supply of here is common sense. I would recommend to you that you ignore this resolution, and if you can't ignore it, I'd urge you to vote against it. Thanks.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? We probably have time for one more. Anyone else like to speak? Mr. Beckman.
I live in District 1. My name is Greg Beckman, and I'd like to answer your question, sir.
Mr. Beckman, you have to direct it to the board.
Sorry. I pulled this off of the news last night.
okay? And I'll read it to you. Biden, taking the microphone from O'Rourke, spoke, "Then I want to make something clear. I'm going to guarantee you that this is the last time you're going to see this guy." And he was talking about Solwell. Okay? And it's been made very clear by Joe Biden in his presidential campaign that they are indeed coming. And Swalwell said, "Hell yes, I'm coming to take your AR-15." And he just got endorsed it last night. So to answer your question, yes, there are people that are willing to come. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I will close, I'm going to close the public comments at this time and bring it back up to the board. We have before us an amended resolution.
Madam Chair, to start things off, I make a motion that we adopt the Second Amendment dedicated county resolution.
I'll second
All
that.
right. Motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Burrell. Discussion?
Madam Chair, if I may have the floor. Today's action illustrates a change in our nation's political climate. No longer are changes started from a grassroots effort, but more of them are starting from the top down. But to preserve our constitutional rights, we will need to make more of a grassroots effort from the bottom up to preserve our given foundation of our nation. I teach my 9 kids to be honest, fair, generous, and to follow their pursuit of happiness. Their pursuit of happiness is a key foundation of our country. That foundation is protected by our Constitution, and our Second Amendment rights are a key and vital part of maintaining that foundation. This effort here today is just one step that we need to make at the grassroots effort to make sure that we continue to be cognizant of our constitutional rights and to protect them every day, not just the Second Amendment, but all of them. And for that, I ask for my board's support.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell.
Madam Chair, thank you. And for anyone that thinks that we do not have to stand up and protect our gun rights, that it's just a hoax, that a big fraud, that there's a movement to take our gun rights away from us, one need not look any further to our neighbors to the north, over to any countries over in Europe, to Australia. They have done it, they will do it, and unless we stand up and fight, it will happen here. So I applaud everyone in support of this resolution, and Madam Chair, I would encourage the rest of the board to vote aye.
Thank you. I am a licensed Minnesota peace officer still. I've maintained my license, and I know a number of people that do carry, and it's actually very reassuring to me to know that law-abiding citizens are out there and they can help protect, because our peace officers can't be everywhere, and sometimes situations happen, tragedies happen, and they can be mitigated with people that are carrying. So I have to say that I am supportive of this, and I took constitutional law, so I know a lot of the reasons why these rights were given to us, why we have the Bill of Rights and the other amendments to the Constitution, and it's important that we stand up for them. Anyone else? Commissioner Potter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We all remember actor Gene Wilder, God rest his soul, and in an interview he was on gun rights and gun things there. He leaned forward and go, "Okay, tell me again how criminals obey the law." Okay, we know criminals aren't supposed to have guns, they're supposed to have those convicted felon that, but somehow they get it. Passing a law might make you feel good, but it's not going to solve the problem, because they're not going to listen to it anyway. You know, so like in the red flag type law, I mean, how is that going to actually do anything? Because the people that are going to violate that anyway. I mean, and criminals don't obey the law, and that's just the way it is. And that's why we need these rights to make sure that those law-abiding citizens have the right to protect themselves. And that's just, I just want to put that with Gene Wilder, because that was just, I never forgot that from the first time he said that. And tell me again how they obey the law, because that's stuck, because they don't. And that's just the way it is. And that's why we have the Constitution with the laws here to help us protect ourselves from the nefarious activities of others.
Glenn, did you have anything to add?
I guess I better say something. No. As a business owner, I need to protect my property and my business and my employees, so I stand firm for making sure that we all have our rights.
Appreciate
So, I
that.
have no problem.
All right.
Madam Chair.
This,
Just one more
Mr. Brown?
comment. We're allowed to make 2 comments, right?
sure.
I have it here. But the sheriff made a comment, and he said, I feel that this is the safest room probably in the state, if not the country right now. We do not have, for the public out there that's watching us, we don't have metal detectors at our door. People are allowed to carry legally in our county. So I'm guessing that very many of our audience is carrying. I feel comfortable with that. When I'm in a restaurant, if I know there's a permitted carry holder in there, I feel better, because if some wild man came in and started doing some shooting rampage, at least we have a fighting chance. So I appreciate, and the people that do have permit to carries and do carry are doing our county and our state and our country a service, and I want to thank them for that. So that's
Thank
all
you.
I had.
All right. No other discussion? Roll call vote. Commissioner Potter?
Aye.
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 Aye. Resolution passes 4-0.
About 4,000.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If I could request a 6-minute break here, so we
Clear and-
resume our meeting?
yeah. And I believe I made a mistake and said 4050 resolution passes. If I,
Charlie's not running again, so that's why.
6-minute break. Call our meeting back to order, and we have Mr. Mark Mattice. A little delay, sorry.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board.
Morning.
Thank you for that. You here? And last Thursday, we had a committee of the whole meeting that you attended to talk about the Bertram Regional Park campground development project. Out of that came a series of recommendations to deal with, and bringing those forth to you today so we can proceed as directed or recommended. The first order of business was we've let out all the bids, we received all the bids, we've opened them up, and we presented them at the committee, the whole meeting. And part of that is now to proceed with those two contracts, and one of them is the building contract, so the camper cabins, the comfort station, and the contact station. So in front of you today, we're looking to authorize signatures on a notice to proceed to phase 3 with our design build contract with Bradbury Stram. And that should be in your packet, that notice to proceed. So we've done all the design work, programming work, bidding work, and everything like this. So this would be proceeding with signing contracts with all the subs and starting construction of those buildings.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Glyden?
Yeah, we had this meeting, Charlie, this was not to try and circumvent you, but we had a time crunch that if we didn't get this figured out on how we're gonna do this, that we could have some issues with some liquidated damages and that sort of stuff, so.
No problem. My only question is, do we have the budget for it?
Yeah, we got it, we have it figured out.
Okay.
We had some unallocated.
I could go to C first.
Madam Chair, so basically there was some CIP projects that came in under, so there was some allocated CIP funds that we transferred over, and then he basically was, how do we use it? We're adjusting the CIP from this year and then adjusting the next year's CIP down. So basically because the project was supposed to take 2 years to be completed, but because the project can get done faster, it's gonna all happen in 1 year. So he has to use some of the money from 2021 CIP in 2020. So he'll just reduce his CIP request in 2021 because he needs to front the money this year. And we're using some unallocated CIP funds to come up with that $350,000 that we had to adjust.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that fair, Administrator Kelly?
Got it right.
All right.
And I'll make a motion to approve, let's see, how many do we have to do here? Can we do it all at once? Nope.
No, there's 2 resolutions, and
Great.
Oh, there's a couple of resolutions?
Resolutions, I believe, are on the,
Okay.
Further down.
Yep. All right, so I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution related to the outdoor recreation grant application through the, wait a minute, that's,
Skipped ahead there.
where am I?
Commissioner Glyden, I think our
timed items at 9:30. And it would
Correct.
be, the first recommendation was to approve proceeding with phase 3. Notice to proceed document with Bradbury Stram. The second recommendation was to accept the bids for the campground grading, infrastructure, and authorize proceeding with the contract development, which I have developed the contract and I have with me today with Peterson Companies, accepting alternatives A, which is paving of all the campground roads, and accepting alternative P, which is a deduction from copper to aluminum for the main feeds, and then develop a site development contract with Laux for construction management.
So moved.
Third recommendation was to approve the budget adjustment that Commissioner Vetch adjusted for. We have $850,000 budgeted in CIP between 2020 and 2021. We'll be moving $350 forward to 2020 out of the unallocated CIP funds. And then in 2021, instead of my regular CIP, that $350 would be paid back.
So I'll make a motion to authorize signatures on notice to proceed on phase 3 regional construction with guaranteed maximum price of $1,415,966 with Bradbury Stanham Construction.
Second.
made by Commissioner Glyden, seconded by Commissioner Vetch. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, entertaining a motion for the second.
I'll make a motion to authorize signatures, make a motion to accept bids for campground grading and infrastructure, authorizing and proceeding with and approval of signatures on contracts between Wright County and Laux INC Construction Management and the prime bidder.
I'll second that.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Brill. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'll entertain a motion on the C.
So moved to approve the budget adjustment of $350 from capital improvement.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Delighten, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All right, the items for consideration.
Madam
the-
Chair, I have a
Yes.
clarification on,
Okay.
on Commissioner Vetch's motion. He motioned to include recommendation to approve signatures on the contract.
Oh, there you go.
And that's fine, I have the contract with me today for Peterson Companies.
Okay.
I can give that to you, and then I think you'd want to,
Including alternates A and alternate P.
Correct.
Site development, yep.
so if that's fine, that included signatures.
I think we all thought it did anyway, so.
Okay, so then I do have that contract, I'll provide it, do you want all the copies, Lee?
That'd be great, yeah.
I got 10 over here, so I can give them. And then the other contract would be with Melks, which would be under the amount that needs board action. It would be in that amount that would be able to be signed by Administrator Kelly and myself.
All right. Thank you. And we did
We didn't vote on
not
it.
vote
We
on
have
that
a
one.
motion and a
All right.
second.
All right, motion made in second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, under items for consideration, adopt a resolution.
Thank you.
We have the two resolutions. Mark, did you want to be here for this, the two resolutions also?
He wanted to run for.
Typically not a timed item, but item A, the resolution is for an outdoor recreation grant. You approved us moving forward with that. I don't have the agenda item in front of me.
Madam Chair, I'll make a
Months ago.
motion to adopt the resolution related to an outdoor recreations grant application through the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources for the possible improvement to Beebe Lake County Park.
Second.
Great, motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, just to
Yes.
let the board know that the local match we're identifying in that grant application is earmarked in the CIP for 2021.
Thank you. All right, this is roll call vote. Commissioner Delighten.
Aye.
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 Resolution passes 5-0.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the Parks and Recreation Director to sign and enter into an agreement with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources related to reconstruction of fishing pier within the Mud Lake County Park.
All right, motion
I'll
made by
second.
Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Delighten. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Commissioner Burrell.
Aye.
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 Resolution passes 5-0.
Thank you, Madam Chair,
Mark.
members. Have a good day.
Madam Chair, I think I'm gonna have to get some speech therapy. I tell
Were you ready?
You're thinking too fast.
Exactly.
All right, so our next item is Advisory Committee, Advisory Board updates. Administrator Kelly, would you like to start? We've had a lot of things going on. Sure.
Indeed, we do. As I believe many of you are aware, is today our bill regarding our dental clinic is being heard. Actually, might even be right now by the House Capital Investment Committee. So Sarah Grossesh, our Public Health Director, was testifying on that. So that bill continues to move forward. That's been moving fast and furious, but it's been good to see progress be made on that. I did want to follow up on a previous board item regarding the EDA. I've been trying to coordinate a date for Bruce Kimmel. He's got some challenges to his availability. Did want to get a sense from the board if you were looking to do a committee of the whole at the end of March, or would it be easier just to put this to our April workshop if that worked timeline-wise? So kind of want to get your thoughts on that.
Madam Chair, I'm afraid, I think our April workshop already is kind of filling up. I'd be afraid if we push it into there, it's going to get to be a long workshop, and then we're also going to get further dogged out on this process, just because once we get this, we look at the information from Ehlers, and then if we decide to go forward into trying to put this exploratory committee together, we're talking months.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree, and I think a committee of the whole would be in order for this.
Okay. And just so you're aware too, discussions I've had with Bruce is his thought was if everything looked good in the statement of work to initiate the process as of that committee of the whole then.
Okay.
Looking at some times, I know his next availability to be on site, it would probably be the latter part of the week of the 23rd. Knowing we already have an event planned for the morning of the 26th, would the afternoon of the 26th be viable?
I actually am open on the afternoon of the 26th. The rest of the week is pretty full.
Yes, it is.
I'm good on the 26th.
26th it is.
All right, I'd entertain a motion, so we set a time at,
Yeah, and I'll confirm with Bruce that works. Discussions I had late last week with him, he was available, but I know his schedule fills up like ours do, so I thought it'd be good to discuss today.
we could tentatively put that on your calendars, and then we can,
after the tour.
we can vote on it next, or the next board meeting.
Yeah, just so you know, though, next week, of course, with our
Right,
strategic
next week we
planning, we
don't
don't
have
have a meeting, so.
It'll be the,
Do you want a
it'll be the
motion now?
17th.
We could do it there.
We can bring it back on the 17th. I will confirm that
Great.
time with
Okay,
Bruce.
okay.
Just wanted to make sure I brought it up today so everybody had the same understanding of where we at in the process and
Thank you.
expectations were managed, so.
What time is that again?
Just want to
We
make
don't-
sure I touch
we don't
on
have-
that.
That will be the afternoon.
It'll be in the afternoon, yeah. Is that gonna work for you, Charlie?
It could. I might be out of town too. I haven't decided yet. How many?
You waiting to see if you get a better offer?
Well, no, let's see how many meetings I'm gonna miss if I.
Okay, anything else, Administrator
I
Kelly?
think I'll be, there's a lot going on.
There is.
As you know, it's a very busy time when session's in and going, so. I guess I'll defer, knowing we have another meeting coming up here at 11, so, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Delighten?
No, I'll pass just for time's sake.
Commissioner Potter?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Last week, the Bartha Charlotte Sewer Subordinate District, we had our first meeting. Try to figure it out. You know, it's a shortfall of a few $100,000, actually $2 million total in it. So it's, you know, we paid the bond this year already. Now it's a matter of paying it. There was members from Martha, Charlotte, and at-large in the area out south of the lake, and trying to figure out how we're going to pay for it. They know what it's coming at, you know, and a couple of them were trying to say, well, it's the county's fault for doing it, and I remind them that the county is not in the sewer business. Did this to help you people, because you wouldn't have houses to sell if you didn't do this. And we were fortunate that St. Michael was gracious enough to allow you to hook into their system without being annexed in. Because a lot of towns won't do that. I know when I was Mayor of Alvaro, we wouldn't take you unless you annexed into town, then we'll take your sewer thing. But so they know what's coming at them, so it's a matter of, you know, it's only got a couple of years left on it, 2 more years, 2 more bond payments. So we got to figure out it's like $3,000 per site. So we're going to continue to do research into how many people, and through different records, and I'm trying to remember her name right now, but they got pretty good records, but we're going to verify them, background, you know, and cross-reference them with St. Michael to make sure that we're accurate in how many people actually are in the system, how many can act the system. I know it was like 185, but it can go up to 235 for St. Michael for the capacity that they've set aside for it. And just make sure we get an accurate number and who's paid, who hasn't paid, and what's going on. Again, a reminder, part of the problem with when they did that is they were kind of assuming that people were going to pay that with 6.5% interest all the way through, and most people prepaid. And it was an error in judgment maybe to not gauge how many people were going to prepay this thing before. So all the people that had $500,000 or whatever was prepaid was collecting interest at 1% when they were kind of anticipating like 6.5% interest return. It was refinanced. Was it 2012? It was refinanced, so it saved some money, but it's still, the damage had already been done on this. I did remind them again that the rest of the county is not paying for it. You people in this district are paying for it, and that's, I'm sorry, I didn't do it, but you all have properties to sell and you all got the benefit.
Yeah, nobody else did.
nobody else got the benefit, and
Yeah,
that's not fair for
absolutely.
anybody else. And the thing boils down to is that if there is residual money left over at the end of it, that group will be determining what to do either with St. Michael for future repairs, because they already pay with their sewer bill. They have a column in there for their grinder pumps to be replaced, and those are replaced every couple of years. But the main line should be good for 50 to 60 years, so that's not a problem with what's going on. But, you know, they can determine what to do with their, but they, like I say, we just got to get through this year, and then we'll worry about the next 2 years, because 2023, the bond's done. Again, it was just slightly over $2 million. It's a shortfall, and they got to pay it. We had to front it, part of it this year, but we're going to get that paid back.
$2 million shortfall? No, it wasn't that high.
The shortfall's $2 million.
Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah. Well, you take the amount of money over a 10-year period that wasn't collecting 6.5% interest versus 1%. The magic of compound interest, they taught you that in school. They used to teach you that in school. They don't teach you that anymore. You know, but the thing boils
Good
down.
proof that it is, makes a difference.
And unfortunately, our kids of today only learn that when the college student loan is kicking in behind.
Yeah.
That's the only time they hear. But yeah, we got to handle it. We're going to meet again towards the end of this month again to keep going. And Lindsay up at Bob's office was the one that was put all this together. Applaud her for all she did to put this together. As much information, and we had the people in the district had their information, and put it all together, collate it to make sure, paint as clear a picture as we can of what happened there. I mean, things didn't happen according to the plan at the beginning, but I know there was a crisis mode on a bunch of things, so they had to do it quickly. Again, reiterating that this county's not in the sewer business. And the only other thing I have, Madam Chair, is I want to, again, recognize Commissioner Vetch for his work down at the Capitol, because to get hearings with some of these legislators is like pulling teeth. And he just didn't let go and worked at it, and we got the hearing for the dental clinic, gets hearings. And that's the toughest thing, is to get them to give you a hearing. Because once you get the hearing, then you're kind of off to the races. But to get the hearing, I mean, many times you're just, well, I don't know if I want to do this. It's an election year, it's a budget year, it's this year. They make excuses why not to do it. But it's a tough job to get them to get a hearing, and thank you for that.
We're getting closer.
To get to get our chief author in the House and the Senate was
And
huge.
get them to actually schedule a hearing.
Yeah.
They can chief author, but if they don't schedule a hearing, nothing
Right.
happens.
No, so hopefully
Right.
the hearing goes well.
Yes.
I was watching it here at 9:10 as we were going live here. It looked good without any audio, so. My lip reading wasn't real good, though.
Yeah, all done? Okay, Commissioner Vetch, I'll go last.
You go last? Okay. Last week on Thursday, our Central Mississippi Regional Planning Partnership, CMRP, met, just kind of getting things ready to kick off here with our press release for our community engagement aspects here that'll be coming up. We also took a little bit of a sidestep to have a discussion as to what outcomes of this will look like and what the fruits of our labor will be. We'll be bringing back some takeaways to all of our local jurisdictions. I think we have a workshop for that, probably, is it going to be April or May, that we'll be having
I think we talked about April.
April, I think that's, yep, so not too far out, we'll be bringing back some information to share with everybody, so,
Good.
on that. So I won't take too much of your time with that.
Madam Chair.
Unless you want to make,
You got a comment for him.
okay, Commissioner Potter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Vetch, change the name to Highway 14. The governor's all over. He wants to throw $40 million at you.
We'll just rename the road 14 if the state will go for that.
Just name it 14, because he just gave them $40 million down there, pushing for that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't meet the criteria, but he's pushing for it. Just rename it, that's all you get through the governor.
There you go.
14B.
Also, I want to thank Commissioner Potter and Commissioner Hewsome for joining me down at the Capitol, or I joined you, or however you want to say. It was a good time getting to chat with some more of the legislators, continue our strong efforts for a lot of the good things that we're championing here in Wright County, so.
Yeah, it was good to meet with them.
It was very good.
Mr. Burrell?
Other than that, I'll-
Okay, just a few things from the Fair Board last night. Anybody, then this is for the public too, that would want to place an ad in the guidebook or change it for us, and if you want to change your ad, you probably want to do that real soon. The deadline's going to be like the middle of the month, so
Okay.
get with Dennis if you want to change that at all. Also, they've made a vote last night. They're going to be giving away a side-by-side four-wheeler with the admission of a paid ticket. So anybody that doesn't pay is not in on it.
My grandson has one.
So that will be kind of cool. And it's a 150th anniversary type
Yep.
thing.
Exciting.
And then also, the Wright County Historical Society is bringing some stuff for a display also, but the Cokato Historical Society had just a plethora of things about the Wright County Fair, from the German prisoner of war people that worked at the canning factory. Most of them worked at the canning factory up in Cokato, so they have all kinds of stuff with that, and they're going to bring it and kind of
Good.
have a display as well, probably in Building 2, but they weren't positive on that. And also, the 5K run got finalized. It's going to be Saturday morning of the fair, so
Okay.
they're going to have a 5K run. So anyway, that's it for now.
Great. Yeah, it was a good day. We met with Senator Bruce Anderson, Senator Mary Kiffmeyer, Representative Dean Erdahl, Representative Marion O'Neill, and Representative Eric Lucero. We couldn't, timing didn't work out with others because we were, going back and forth between the buildings and we got late. So anyway, but we had good discussions and talked about other priorities from the Association of Minnesota Counties in addition to our request for the dental bonding going forward. And we got a laboratory success stories from our Midwest Regional Lab report for January. And there was a number of success stories for Wright County. In biology, on a recovered stolen vehicle, they had a hit to a South Dakota convicted offender sample. This sample was collected from a soda can. There was, from Leighton Prince, an auto theft, 2 hits to 2 prints lifted from a vehicle and a pack of cigarettes. Biology hit on a recovered stolen vehicle, a forensic hit to Edina Police Department auto theft, a biology recovered stolen vehicle, a hit to Minnesota convicted offender sample, forensic hit to Minnesota Police Department auto theft, and Leighton Prince from a recovered stolen vehicle, 2 hits to 2 prints lifted from the vehicle. So, I mean, they're just doing a wonderful service, and to get this information so we can lead to arrests and convictions and hopefully stop some of these people that are out committing crimes all over the place. And I was at the city of Annandale last night for their meeting, and Chief Herr, he's retiring on I think it's March 31st. And so he gave a real nice talk. It was quite emotional, but talked about his 30-year career and 28 years with the city of Annandale, and he's also been part of the Wright County SWAT team and done a lot of training, et cetera. And it was emotional. We talked about the 2 homicides that were in Annandale, really in their history, and they occurred kind of a short time frame from each other's, and so it was a very nice summary of his career. And the council did appoint Pete Stanifer, who's been working as a resource officer in different divisions in the department, as the next police chief. So he will be taking office on April 1st. So congrats to Chief Herr for his very fine, dedicated years of service. He accomplished a lot, and we're sad to see him go, but happy for what he's done in Wright County, one of our cities. So. And
Madam Chair?
yes,
There was one thing I wanted to mention I forgot. For people that are not in a flood zone but are concerned about flooding, they actually can get flood insurance. We've all gotten an email, or I did anyway, and I forwarded it to the county administrator, and we can get that out on our website too. But there's a 30-day waiting period. So if you're concerned about flooding, even though you're not in a flood zone, you can buy flood insurance through the state, and it's based off of where you're located and that sort of stuff. So some of it isn't all that expensive. I think one of them example is like $500 a year for flood insurance. So If you're interested, there's a 30-day waiting period. You need to get that done if you are concerned about potential flooding, no matter what, where you're located.
Yep.
Even if you're up on a hill, still get it. So
All right.
we'll get that information out on the county website.
All right, if there's nothing else that needs to come before the county board, we are adjourned at 10:30, and we do have a meeting at the Justice Center at 11. Thank you.